In my previous video, I explained what the small sandpipers called peeps were and how to tell them apart from other shorebirds. I showed the parts of the shorebird wing, especially the scapulars, wing coverts, and tertials. And I explained the three very different plumages of shorebirds: juvenile, breeding, and non-breeding. If you need a refresher, please go back to that video linked in the card above, because the rest of this video assumes that you know the meaning of those terms. In this video, I will teach you how to identify and separate least, semipalmated, and western sandpipers. This is a difficult identification challenge. You may want to have your favorite field guide handy and pause the video to compare the video images with the field guide illustrations and text. We are going to start with size. Least is the smallest body of the trio at 6 inches, bill tip to tail tip. Western is the largest at 6.5 inches, and semipalmated in the middle. Females are slightly larger and longer billed than males. The difference in size or bill length is not enough to tell western apart from semipalmated in the field. When side by side, though, least sandpipers are noticeably smaller than the other two species. The shape of the bill is most important for identification. It should be what you look at first on peep. The bill of western sandpiper is rather wide at the base, straight, but droops at the tip. The bill is as long as the head. The bill of least sandpiper is thin and rather curved in comparison. Here is a very short-billed western sandpiper. It is thick at the base, straight, tapers, but then has a bulbous, drooping tip. Do you see it? This western sandpiper has a long bill. It is thick at the base and tapers. Then there is a swollen tip. This is a shorter-billed least sandpiper. The bill curves gently throughout its length and tapers to a rather fine point. Every once in a while, you'll find a least sandpiper with a surprisingly long bill. It still curves and tapers throughout to a sharp tip. Here's one more showing how fine the tip is. Here is a short-billed semipalmated sandpiper. In the West, where these sandpipers are rather rare, it is these very small-billed birds that are most likely to be identified. Note how straight and rather tubular these bills are, with a blunt tip. Straight and blunt. Even longer-billed birds have bills that appear tubular and blunt. About this time you may be saying, "Look at the legs, least sandpipers have yellow legs." And it's true, but leg color is not always obvious. Sometimes the legs are coated in mud and the color is uncertain. Sometimes they are wading. And half the time, the light's against you. If you can see leg color, great. If not, you need to look at bill shape and plumage. Before we look at the plumage details of each of the three species throughout the year, let me explain about the seasonal timing and range of these shorebirds. In the lower 48 states, these sandpipers move north in April and May. At the beginning of their migration, most birds are still in their plain gray, non-breeding plumage. As migration proceeds, you will note more birds in adult breeding or splotchy intermediate plumage. Western sandpipers are common in the West in spring. Semipalmated sandpipers are common in the East in spring. Least sandpipers are common across the United States in spring. These peep breed mostly in June in or near the Arctic tundra. That's when they are in their breeding plumage. Unfortunately, south of Canada, we do not often get to see these sandpipers in the full breeding plumage shown in the field guides. Spring migrants are often still in non-breeding plumage. Even in late May, we see few breeding plumaged birds. Many are splotchy birds with some patches of breeding plumage replacing the non-breeding feathers. Then in July and early August, we see adult birds moving south through the United States with worn, tattered, and faded breeding plumage. By September, these adults are already starting to molt into their non-breeding plumage. Juvenile shorebirds migrate separately from and later than adults. September is the month for juvenile peeps in bright, colorful adornment. These are the most colorful and sharply patterned shorebirds with crisp, fresh feathers. They contrast greatly with the worn and faded adults. In October and November, many of these sandpipers have moved south of the United States. Both adults and this year's juveniles are now in grayish, non-breeding plumage. Some few of these birds winter in the United States, December through March. Semipalmated sandpipers are virtually absent from North America in winter. Western sandpipers winter in small numbers along both east and west coasts of the United States. They are more frequent in southern coastal areas of California and the Gulf Coast. Least sandpipers are the most likely of the three in winter. They are found inland as well as coastally. They winter across the bottom third of the United States and inland in coastal states where winters are mild. With that explanation, let's start with the plumage of least sandpipers. In all plumages, least sandpipers are browner than the other peeps. As noted, they have dull yellow-green legs and feet. The bill curves down throughout and tapers to a fine point. In spring adult breeding plumage, least sandpipers have crowns streaked with thin dark brown lines. The breast is brownish with columns of downward pointing arrows of darker brown. The smaller upper scapulars are quite dark. The larger lower scapulars have feathers with pale interiors, a large black subterminal anchor, and thin white fringes. Those white fringes wear away by fall migration. Worn adults in breeding plumage have wings that look quite blackish, except for some pale interiors to the lower scapulars. Non-breeding birds, though rather plain grayish, usually appear to have a brown hood over the head and upper breast. Juveniles have black upper scapulars with a rusty fringe. The lower scapulars are black with white tips, and the three tertial feathers are black with a cinnamon fringe. Western sandpipers appear very white-faced and white-breasted compared to least sandpipers. The legs are black. The bill is rather thick at the base, tapering, and straight, with a drooping blob at the tip. Western sandpipers in spring breeding plumage are heavily spotted on the breast and down the flanks. The crown and ear coverts are rusty, and the scapulars are rusty with black subterminal anchors and a pale fringe. They become worn quickly in fall. They fade so that only a few scapular feathers show any rusty color. Juvenile western sandpipers have rufous only on the black-centered upper scapulars. The lower scapulars are gray with black anchors. The face and breast are pale. The ear coverts are not obvious. Non-breeding western sandpipers are very pale on their face and breast. In shade, some streaking is visible on the head and sides of the upper breast. In bright light, they appear washed out. They really stand out as white and pale gray compared to the browner least sandpipers. The gray wing feathers have thin, dark shaft streaks. Semipalmated sandpipers appear very similar to western sandpipers. They often show a stronger ear patch. Juveniles and breeding plumaged adults have far fewer rusty feathers in the crown or wing, and those few warm-colored feathers present are buff or faintly cinnamon. The legs are black. The bill is short, stout, tubular, with a blunt tip. Spring birds in breeding plumage have scapulars with black centers. The upper scapulars are often without color, having gray edges. Lower scapulars are similar. Only a few have a faint cinnamon edge. Remember, on western sandpipers, both the upper and lower scapulars show a lot of rust. Worn adults in breeding plumage have mostly black and white scapulars. They have some individual speckling across the breast. Semipalmated sandpipers winter mostly in coastal South America. Non-breeding adult plumage is most likely to be seen in the United States during spring migration, April and May. Many birds in non-breeding plumage cannot be told from western sandpipers. The bill is the best clue. Some semipalmated sandpipers have darker ear coverts and breast streaking than winter western sandpipers. Juvenile semipalmated sandpipers have black back feathers with white edges. The lower scapulars are gray with black subterminal blotches and white fringes. The upper scapulars are black with white fringes. Only a few of the smallest upper scapulars on the leading edge of the wing show cinnamon fringes. Very fresh juvenile semipalmated sandpipers show a buffy breast band and crown that soon fades. Juveniles may have a darker ear cover compared to western sandpipers. Click on this video to see my accompanying video on the basics of identifying peep and of sandpipers in general.